A routine ferry crossing turns into one of South Korea's worst maritime disasters. Within hours, a passenger ferry capsizes, sinking into the sea, with hundreds still trapped inside. How could such a horrific accident happen in the modern age when so many safety lessons are supposed to have been learned? The 16th of April 2014, Incheon, South Korea. MV Sewol, a passenger and car ferry registered with the Chonghaejin Marine Company, is departing Incheon for its destination of Jeju, South Korea's largest island. A trip Sewol makes 3 times per week. Each one-way voyage of 264 miles takes 13.5 hours to complete. Sewol is a roll-on roll-off passenger ferry, meaning that in addition to passengers, the ship is designed to carry wheeled cargo such as cars and heavy goods vehicles, which can be driven on and off the ship under their own power, rather than having to rely on a crane to load and unload them. As well as vehicles, it also carries cargo containers. Sewol was originally a Japanese ship built in 1994. It was first operated by the Japanese company A-Line Ferry under the name Naminui until 2012, when it was sold to Chonghaejin Marine in South Korea. At 18 years old, the ship had seen heavy use and was in dire need of refurbishment. The new owners took it upon themselves to have the ship entirely revamped, increasing its passenger and cargo capacity. These modifications included the addition of 2 passenger decks and the expansion of the cargo space. Sewol had her gross tonnage increased by 239 tons and her passenger capacity increased by 116 to 921 passengers, or a total of 956 including the crew. The ferry was 146 metres long and 22 metres wide, with a gross tonnage of 6,825 tonnes. It had a legal capacity for 180 vehicles and 154 cargo containers. At 22 knots or 25 miles per hour, it had a range of up to 264 miles. After these modifications were completed, HV Sewol underwent an inspection by the Korean Register of Shipping, which it passed and received certification to carry passengers and cargo. Included in this process was an inclining test, as the modifications the ship underwent had moved its centre of gravity upward. The way a ship maintains stability and stops from capsizing is done using a series of ballast tanks located at the bottom of the vessel. These tanks can be filled with seawater, adding weight to the very bottom of the ship, counteracting the weight of the cabin and cargo, lowering its centre of gravity, making the ship stable. When a ship is heavily loaded with cargo, ballast water is often reduced to make room for more weight. However, if too much water is removed, the ship can become top-heavy, increasing the risk of tipping over. Proper cargo distribution is crucial for stability, and ideally it is evenly spread out to prevent the vessel from leaning too much to one side. Sewol re-entered service on the 15th of March 2013 and had been operating the route from Incheon to Jeju for over a year as of the 16th of April 2014. On this trip, the passengers are mostly made up of school children on their way to a field trip, who make up 325 out of the 476 occupants. Accompanying them are 14 teachers. Over halfway into the journey, all appears routine as the ship sails south along the Korean coast. The helmsman makes a course change to the left near Jindo Island. The ship begins to list to the right. 4 minutes after the sharp turn, a crew member contacts the vessel traffic service and reports that the ship is tilting. However, there is no immediate request for evacuation assistance. As the list gets steeper and steeper, the captain and his crew instruct passengers to stay inside their cabins and not move, with an audible announcement playing on loop telling passengers to stay put and not leave. Doing what children are told is the right thing to do, most of the students follow these instructions, believing all is under control and the adults in charge will sort everything out, unaware that the situation is only getting worse. As the ferry tilts further, the captain and crew fail to initiate evacuation procedures. Instead, many crew members begin escaping, leaving behind passengers who are still waiting for orders. The captain and a few other crew members are said to have even changed out of their uniforms and into civilian clothes in order to be rescued quicker, although they themselves would later deny this as being the reason. The Korean Coast Guard and private fishing boats arrive at the scene. However, no official large-scale evacuation is ordered, and rescuers only manage to save some crew members and a few passengers who disobeyed the order to stay where they were. Most passengers are still trapped inside as the ship continues to sink further and further. At around 10:30 in the morning, the ferry completely turns over and is almost entirely submerged, with only a small section of the hull visible above the waterline. Those still inside have no way out. The first actual emergency call for help was actually made by one of the students using a mobile phone, before even the crew had made any attempt. The conditions of the sea make it difficult to reach those inside. Over the next few days, the tragedy becomes clear. 304 people have been lost, including 250 students. In an incredible display of incompetence, challenging conditions and bad luck, 8 rescuers die while attempting to rescue survivors. These include 2 divers, a naval officer, and the crew of a rescue helicopter, which crashes on its return from searching for survivors. It is found that the cause for the disaster was down to multiple failings of the ship owners and crew. During the Sewol's refit, the certification process was completed using fraudulent data provided from Chonghaejin Marine to the testers, and further modifications to the ship were completed after certification, including adding marble surfaces to the passenger areas, adding further weight and raising the centre of gravity even more. The ship was filled with far too much cargo, around double what it was certified to carry. Adding to this is the fact much of it wasn't secured properly, resulting in a load shift to one side as the ship made its sharp turn. Also, to allow for the additional weight of this extra cargo, the ballast tanks were emptied to well below the required amount. All of these misjudgments combined made a capsizing of the ship inevitable. Adding to that, the failure of the crew to conduct a proper evacuation made a dangerous situation into a fatal one. Topping it all off was an extremely slow and ineffective rescue effort. The Korean public demand accountability, and many of the crew members and higher-ups in Chonghaejin Marine face prison sentences. For their poor coordination in the rescue and recovery, the Korean Coast Guard is deemed not fit for purpose and disbanded entirely, with their duties split up and redistributed among other agencies. The Chonghaejin Marine Company would soon go out of business after the accident. In 2017, the ship was raised from the ocean floor and is now located in the port of Mokpo, South Korea. The MV Sewol disaster remains one of South Korea's worst maritime tragedies, symbolising the failures of safety regulations, government response, and profits taking priority over safety. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to give it a like rating for the time and effort I put into making it. If you enjoyed what I do, then you can also subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.